Good afternoon. What the heck, Jason?
I was about
Good
to
evening.
disappear.
Good afternoon. I see. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Toxic Masculinity, the greatest podcast in the history of the world. You may be wondering, you may be sitting there going, why is there only two of them? There is a third guy on this show. Where is the third guy? Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we had to kill him. I don't know. That was it. I don't know what. I have no really good explanation. He had to go. Axed, killed, murdered, slaughtered, butchered. No, he's all right. I think he's all right. he couldn't come today. So
I think today was his transition, Chris.
Today was his transition day. Was that today's the day of the operation?
Yes.
We have to try to figure. I think the whole show we're just going to try to figure out what kind of gay stuff that Kurt is up to today that he couldn't make it, because that's the assumption we're going to make now. It has to be something homosexual. That's what I'm going to assume anyway. But no. We look. We'll get through the show. It'll be a lot of fun. We've got some great stories coming up, some great stuff, some great news. Patrick McKay, what's up, guys? What is up, sir? What is up, everybody? You guys all seem like very happy, cool, fun individuals today, ready to chit chat. I'm ready to get into the chat with you guys. Anthony Mark jumped in. Due to the economy, the panel has been reduced by 33%. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Exactly.
That's good. All right. Well, listen, I was on, or I will be on.
Oh, wait. You know what, Chris? Everybody, please do a massive super chat today so that Kurt doesn't get his percentage of that.
Yeah, let's get like $5,000 in the super chat. Where's Mr. Kurt? This guy. People are wondering, where's the third Musk? Everybody's wondering. Okay, people are coming in a little bit late. Yeah, Kurt's gone. We're speculating as to what gay stuff he's up to at the moment. Is he a top? Is he a bottom? Let us know in the comments what you think. And is he a bear? Is he a twink? I don't know. Those are the only two I know. I know there's several different kinds of homosexual. I'm not exactly privy to it. I know a little bit from pop culture, but that's about it. All right, this is getting gross. I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole. Graham Wells, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Listen. I want to talk about a show that I will be on Sunday. It's called Sebastian Gorka Reality Check. The Sebastian Gorka Reality Check is on Newsmax. If you like politics, you want to watch politics on the weekend, if you like Newsmax, make sure you check out Sebastian Gorka show. I will be on there at the end of the hour. Fantastic show. The problem with this show is that they asked me to come on. I'm like, yeah, of course. So I jump on the show, and the producer, she sends me the topic, and the topic is supposed to be Biden's gaffes, right? So Biden recently has made several different ridiculous. I mean, remember he told everybody that like his uncle was eaten by cannibals and stuff like that, like just ridiculous stuff. Biden, and so we were going to make fun of Biden, make some jokes and stuff like that. And so I wrote this amazing script. You guys, it was an amazing script. Okay, like a bit. I was going to do a bit. I didn't even tell Seb. I was just like ready to go. At the last second, I get on the show just before we go on air. I'm like, hey, Seb, we're doing this thing about Biden's gaffes, right? He's like, oh, no, we changed it. We did a whole different thing. And it ended up being perfect. Like, it ended up working out really, really well. It was a lot of fun, but I had to wing it, But I don't want to just...
Chris, how about this? How about we do it tonight, right now, on this show?
Let's do it right now.
You have to get it out. Let's make it like I'm Gorka, okay? And
I gotta get this working here. Okay, okay, let's do that. All right. So
I can't do a British accent, so
you pretend to be Gorka. You're Gorka. So you start the show, you introduce me, you ask me the first question about a Biden gaffe, like the one where he says pause. You remember that? And then I'll get going with my bit, okay? So you're Gorka, go.
Okay. Hi, hello. This is Gorka Reality Check. And I'm here with the Mr. Reagan, Chris. And Chris, I wanted to ask you a few questions about the Biden gaffes. Earlier today, he made a gaffe on a teleprompter. His gaffe was he was speaking exactly what the teleprompter said, and he has much money. He has many more gaffes. Can you explain this? Like, what do you think the problem is here?
Compliment Seb on great question and then answer question. Great question, Seb. You know, I'm going to take Biden's side on this one, play devil's advocate. I don't get why people are criticizing this. Obviously, this guy's a genius, and I didn't notice any gaffe at all. As Mark Hamill recently posted on X, Joe Biden is the greatest president in history, and I think we can all agree on that. And he's actually an expert teleprompter reader. That's factually a fact, actually, okay? Seb will now respond or ask a new question. Wait
a minute. Hold on. Are you gaffing right now?
Wow, you know, everybody give Jason a hand. Oh my God, I could. Is that Jason or Sebastian Gorka? I couldn't even tell. That was so perfect. That was amazing. I think we now all have an idea of why Sebastian Gorka makes the big bucks.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, thanks, Graham. That's great. He's staying up past midnight to watch us. That's awesome.
So,
when we started the show, Jason suggested that we talk about something, and now he seems to have forgotten what that is.
That is why Jason is not making the big bucks. Okay, so
that's right. Graham Wells, let me just say this quickly. They can take our lives, and apparently, these days, they can also take our freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little Scotland joke for you.
So today, it was the Supreme Court is like doing their thing on Trump's case on immunity. I believe it's the immunity. If a president can have immunity and
presidential
and if they're able to do whatever they want and not have repercussions. And so I just wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about that? And for me, people don't understand the whole point of presidential immunity. The president doesn't have immunity because Congress always checks that. Congress can always impeach, can always do if they come to a majority against the president. So it's not like he has total immunity. But it's like presidents have to do certain things, and they shouldn't be have to pay for those things once they're not president or an elected official, you know, because like I read earlier, like Obama did he bombed and killed American citizens. I forgot, I think it was in Syria. So if presidents don't have immunity anymore, because obviously that's against the Constitution, you can't kill Americans without a trial. So if the immunity is gone, when Trump becomes president, can't he charge or put I was gonna say Biden, but can he put Obama into prison for that? Like, I mean, this is an important question. So I'm just,
that's actually it's actually a really great point, because Trump posted the other day, like, if I don't have presidential immunity, neither does Biden. But here's the thing: neither does Obama, which is actually even a bigger deal.
Yep. Yeah, because who cares about Biden? Biden's this old senile guy that once he's done, once they used him, it's over. But you can charge presidents before him, including George Bush, for going into war without actually the evidence.
Yeah, weapons of mass destruction wasn't a thing. Nope. Okay, let's get Bush. Look, I'm not 100% sure how the Supreme Court will rule on this, but I think it's. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I read about this a long time ago. Hello, Maria Baker. I read about this a while back, so I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I think the concept is like what Trump did on January 6th was he was doing it in his capacity as president. I think they actually have a very good case for this. The entire Democrat case for trying to interfere with the 2020 election and trying to steal the election. They actually say that Trump's trying to overturn the election, right? Which is, the irony could not be more rich, right? Trump's trying to steal the election. Okay, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole presumption that they make is that Donald Trump knew the election was perfect. And every time that he said that the election was stolen, he knew that was a lie. Okay. Why would you think that? Unless you have like private messages from Trump to his close friends saying, I know that the election wasn't stolen, but man, it's fun to pretend that it was, wasn't it? To lie to my stupid Trump follower, the MAGA extremists. Ha 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 ha. Right? They have no such evidence. They have no reason to believe this whatsoever. Their contention is that it's so obvious that the election was perfect that no one could possibly think that it was stolen. But here's something interesting. 81 million votes, 0 enthusiasm for Joe Biden. How the hell does that happen? That alone, I mean, that's your baseline indicator that something fishy was going on, right? Here's another thing to consider. If Trump didn't think, if Trump knew that the election was perfect and he couldn't possibly have thought it was stolen, how do you explain a Rasmussen poll that occurred fairly recently after the 2020 election that indicated that 30% of Democrats believe that the election was stolen? We're not talking about Republicans. These are Democrat voters. If you had, like, in, say, like the Congo, if you had an election, like, places where we expect there to be corruption, and whoever won some kind of an election in the Congo, who wasn't a very popular guy, but he won anyway, if his followers, if his supporters said, 30% of them said, yeah, actually, we think probably it was stolen, the election was stolen, we would all just assume, okay, yeah, well, that's, yeah, that guy stole the election. The Congo is corrupt, obviously. But here in America, oh, no, it's not possible that could have happened. No, everything's perfect and clean and perfect. Look, we all know there's evidence upon evidence. If you watch 2000 Mules, there's so much, there are so many little things. Like, I've covered it so many times on my show. So many little.
The fact that any of this hasn't even gone to court, like an actual court, is right there proof that something weird happened.
No, I know. They won't even look at it. The night of the election, there was obviously, like, they stopped counting the ballots and then let's turn it off for a second. Okay, let's turn it back on. Oh, what? Biden's ahead? Oh, what happened here? That's crazy, right? There's so many, like, little things, right? Like, I covered this story about not ballot fraud, but registration fraud. They were registering voters that, fraudulently. There was, like, some fraudulent voter registrations, and this is not speculative. This is they found this is fraudulent voter registrations, and they know who did it. They know who was involved, and the FBI is just not following up on the case. And I did a story about it a little while ago, and it's crazy. Like, there's all these, like, obvious indicators of election fraud that they're just not exploring. They've explored a couple of different ways, and they weren't able to sort of, like, find that smoking gun in these, like, few avenues that they looked for. And so Democrats have gone, you guys stop looking. We already looked a couple of places. We didn't find any election fraud there. Therefore, there was no election fraud, and everybody knows it. It's like, well, actually, there could have been election fraud, and we just didn't find it yet. That's possible. But they just don't. I don't know. The whole thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if the Supreme Court rules like against Trump and says that presidents don't have the kind of immunity that they should, I think at that point we can officially call ourselves a banana republic. Definitely.
I mean, I don't even want to know what's going to happen. And if in November, if Biden gets elected again, I don't even want to think about that, because to me, that's the beginning of some very, very bad stuff that's going to go down. Because I mean, at this point, Trump's got it in the bag. I mean, we could see the polls might change or something, but do we really think that? Come on. We don't really think that.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to, like, speculate. Anyway, do we want to get to the news?
Yes. So first up is
I have to.
Former Arizona
Is there a delay or something? I don't feel like I'm interrupting you. Oh wait, should I just pitch real quick? Should I just pitch real quick our toxic masculinity t-shirts? Look at that. Look how beautiful that is.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine owning that? Look at this one. Look at this one. OMG. And here's the great thing. Most people have no idea what our show is. So they'll just be like, I don't get it. Why do you have a shirt like that? These are my other Trump designs, which I love and everybody hates. Nobody buys them. But I love them. People are like, what's good about toxic masculinity? Why are you showing us, like, why do you have that? That looks horrible. And then you can laugh at them. Go,
yeah.
Leftist.
A guy drinking from a toxic masculinity cup is just toxic. I mean,
I personally, I want that cup because I'm in Asia right now. I can't even order it. I'm so annoyed. Yes, it would make a great Father's Day gift. Thank you, Rich Rosetto. Remind me to send you your $5 PayPal.
He's also saying we're going to be demonetized and throttled tonight.
Rich, don't give him any ideas, man.
But aren't we already? So does it matter?
I get listen, you guys. This is why we beg for money so much, like street kids, because we get demonetized every video. And I go to monetize it, and then it takes 2 or 3 days for them to monetize it after everybody has seen it. So it's like, okay, so I get zero money from YouTube. So I just got to get money from the super chats or from my Teespring or whatever. But they're doing this. I have a buddy. This is really true. Just called me the other day. We're trying to work out how to monetize our channels in other ways and try to like maybe get on other platforms and stuff. We're trying to maybe shift to Rumble. Jason really wants me to push that. We may be switching to Rumble. Check Rumble, guys. Check Rumble. I'm posting everything to Rumble.
Like, imagine if we're on Rumble, we can say whatever we want. What I really believe, a black-pilled person really believes.
Yeah. So we're going to try to switch to Rumble as much as we can and other platforms as well. But anyway, I was talking to a buddy of mine, big YouTuber, real big YouTuber, conservative. I'm not going to tell you his name, but big guy. And he literally just had to sell his car. He had this beautiful car. He had this awesome car. He had to sell it because YouTube has completely screwed over his channel. And like that's where we are right now. And all of us YouTubers, all of us conservative YouTubers are getting screwed. Tips through PayPal. Yeah, sure. I don't have that listed anywhere, but but listen, I'm going to start I'm going to focus a little bit more on my Patreon again. So if people want to subscribe to my Patreon, I'll probably be doing some stuff on Patreon. So I'm going to focus on all the different channels. I'm going to be uploading to TikTok. Yeah, I know, the evil TikTok. You know what's funny? I'm less scared of the Chinese spying on me than I'm scared of my own flipping government. Exactly. That's where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. That's where we are. TikTok, such a danger. Have you seen what the FBI has been doing? I don't know if TikTok's the thing that we should be afraid of.
You know, I hate TikTok. I really hate TikTok. I think it's destroying our culture. But like getting rid of it, I don't know now, because I read the other day that conservative memes and conservative voices are starting to blow up on TikTok, and I'm like, this is why they want to get rid of it. Now that it's reversed.
Really good point. That's a really good point. Look, I'm for free speech. I think, but I'm not for spying. I don't think that the Chinese should spy on us. But I do think we have a bigger problem with our own government spying on us with our own government. Yes. I do think that. So we got bigger fish to fry right now. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the first news story of the day. I have so much energy, which is really weird because I didn't sleep. You know what happened?
Yeah, I asked you that earlier. I was like, Chris, did you sleep? Please sleep before we do this. And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay.
So, let me tell you some personal stuff about my own.
You're a pro. You're a pro.
Let me tell you something about my personal life. So I started doing Muay Thai a little while back, right? And I don't know. I get excited when I'm like training and I punch really hard, like too hard, And I kind of messed up my neck and my shoulder and all this kind of stuff, right? I was telling this to Jason last night. I probably shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to anyway. So I messed up my shoulder and my neck. And it really was bad. Like, I'm trying to write scripts for the show, you know, and I'm like, I can't even write. I can't even type without hurting. So I'm heading back to my hotel room, and I'm like, you know what? I should go to like get a massage, right? Like, there's massages all over Bali. But the tricky thing about like Asia is that when you go to get a massage, sometimes it's like, you want sexy massage, you know, and I don't really want to go to a place like that, you know. So I don't really just want to go to Google Maps and find a place and be like, man, this will work, you know. But you know, I got to the point where I'm like, it hurts so much. I had to go. I just had to go. And honestly, I hate getting massages. Jason and I both, we hate getting massages. I hate the oil. I hate the old ladies that, you know, but I don't want some old lady poking around on my body. I just don't like it. But it hurt so bad. I had to go. I had to go. It was like either that or I don't know what I was going to get, some kind of shot or something. I don't know. I was in so much pain. So I go to this lady, like just across the street. I find some place just across. I'm like, I'm just going to like risk it, you know, totally professional, nothing weird. You know, it was good. It was fine. So I go get the massage. Everything was fine. Pay the lady, whatever. And it was actually good. Like, it actually felt like she fixed something. Like, it's not perfect. Like, it still hurts a little bit. Like, I think I'm going to cancel my Muay Thai. In fact, I might do that on air just now. But I'm going to cancel today because I think I don't want to, like, make it worse. But I think she actually fixed it. I was really happy about that. Massage does work sometimes, guys. Even if there's no happy ending or anything.
That's what I was just about to say.
All right. Enough gory nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's get into the news. I'm
surprised it wasn't a story about one of your girls, but okay.
Well, it could have been. You know, it was just like
true.
It's just
true.
She was about a centimeter away from being one of my girls.
But I love your Bali stories. It's cool. Like just because that's like a completely other culture and strange kind of place that you would be in, but it's cool.
It's a good place.
All right, so former Arizona GOP chair Kelly Ward, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows indicted for role in alternate electors case. So,
all right, hold on, let me get that.
Basically, they're anybody that is attached to Trump, they're going to go after because they have to teach everybody a lesson. Don't screw with us. Don't screw with the establishment, or you're going to pay for it.
Right. Basically, yeah, they're going after all these guys. Now, it was originally reported by that African dude that got kicked out of the White House press corps. You know what I'm talking about? Simon Abete or something like that. He originally reported that Trump was being indicted. So I reposted his thing and I was like, okay, it's the 6th one, guys. Like, what? Like, yeah, hooray. Like, we got another one. And then people started posting like, I don't think Trump's indicted. I'm like, well, okay. Not my fault, okay? Simon's fault. Blame Simon. Okay. Blame the African as usual. I don't know why that guy got it wrong, but it was really late last night. So I just, for me, it was late. But anyway, yeah. Look, this is ridiculous.
It's incredible. It's like, especially like Rudy Giuliani, like he did such a great job in New York, and like for this to be happening is it's a disgrace.
What pisses me off actually, because alternate slates of electors is a legal process. Is it something that you should do if you think an election is stolen or should be overturned or something like this? This is part of the legal process that you go
there was
through.
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
The reason this is the excuse that they're giving. This is really the truth. This is the excuse they're giving for pretending that this is a crime. This is really what they're doing. They're pretending it's a crime. Okay, this is the excuse they're giving. They're saying that the reason that these guys got this slate of electors was just so that Mike Pence could go up there and dismiss the original slate of electors and then bring in this Arizona one, regardless of the whether or not the election was stolen, whether or not anybody believed the election was stolen, no matter what was discovered about the election. Like, there's no evidence that this slate of electors was even going to be used in any way whatsoever, other than in the case that they were able to sort of like discover or prove fraud or something like that, right? Like, it wasn't clear exactly how this slate of electors was going to be used. Nobody really knows. But this is the case that they're making. They're trying to pretend that they were certainly going to overturn the will of the people and just do this thing, blah, 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 blah. And the bigger lie, and the thing that pisses me off, and this is, I just mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again, is they're assuming that Trump and everybody else 100% knew that the election, all of their cases revolve around exactly the same thing. Their assumption that Trump knew the election was perfect and that he's lying about it being stolen. But Trump really believed it was stolen. I really believed it was stolen. Jason really believes it was stolen.
Yes.
Like, Mark Levin talks about it all the time. Kudlow talks about it all the time. Gorka talks about it all the time. Who's that guy that makes all the movies?
But the whole thing is, you can't indict people for like that
believing something different that you don't believe.
Yeah.
These guys were doing what needed to be done in the case of a stolen election because they believed that it was stolen. That is the correct thing to do.
We are slowly delving into a communist regime here.
Authoritarian rule.
And people need to wake up, really. Like, Democrats too. It amazes me how Democrats could support all this, like the regular Democrat.
Thank you, Anthony Mark. Dinesh D'Souza, he also says this all the time.
I know the people in power. I know they're just grasping onto their power, but like the regular voter, like, they should be outraged about this, but they're not. I guess their team's winning.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the really messed up thing, I think. And at least this is how I see it. Like, if I felt like, as a Republican, if I felt that my side was stealing elections, even though I disagree with the Democrats on everything, I think I would fight with the Democrats to restore, the system to be something fair and just and all that kind of thing. But the reality, it's funny because I say that on principle, but as I say it, I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible to have a scenario in which the Democrats are doing the right thing and the Republicans are doing the slimy thing. I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, there's tons of Republicans that are rhinos in the establishment. It's probably like 60%, 70%." Okay, maybe it's 60 or 70%. I don't think it's probably that high. I think it's probably more like 40%.
I agree with you. I think they can work together to kind of screw us, but I don't think the Republicans do like want to hurt us, like obvious hurt us. Like,
it's like 100% of Democrats and like 40% of Republicans. It probably used to be something more like 60, 70% of Republicans, but then we had the Tea Party movement. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yep.
But the Tea Party movement actually kicked out a lot of rhinos and like establishment guys.
That's what freaked them out in the beginning.
Exactly. So once we got that Tea Party movement thing going, we kind of fixed the Republican Party. And then the Democrat Party became the party of the establishment. They became the party of the deep state. And that's how we got to this situation where we were able to elect Trump and all this kind of thing. And then once we elected Trump, we got rid of more rhinos, and now we're getting rid of even more rhinos. Somebody just posted, "Ya mama, all ya mamas." Okay. All right. I don't know why I thought I'd read that one, because it was just so weird. Thank you for that. Love the comment. Wish it was a super chat, but it looks like we're not making any money today. Jace, do we have anything more to say about this, or we want to move on to the next story?
Well, I think it comes down to if you don't agree with us, if you don't look the other way, we're gonna get you, and we're gonna bring you down. We're gonna destroy you. So get with the program.
Right. I mean, a lot of what they do isn't necessarily punishment, but it's the threat of punishment. It's sort of like the Mafia, right?
And
they'll make an example out of somebody so that everybody else is terrified. Did you ever see the movie Touchables?
Yes.
Gorka and I reviewed that a few weeks back. And there's a great scene. I mean, a great scene. There's a horrific scene where Al Capone, which is Robert De Niro in the movie, Al Capone, he takes a baseball bat and he says this guy did something to like screw him over or something like that. And he walks around the table holding this baseball bat and he just smashes this guy's head and blood everywhere. Everybody's like eating this nice dinner or whatever. They're just like, what the hell? And everybody else there knew after that moment that if they ever did anything to screw over Al Capone, that would be them. That would happen to them. And so he just like used this guy as an example. I think that's what the Democrats do, right? Like, I think that's what they did with Epstein. I think that's what they did with P. Diddy, right? They've got these guys. Somebody said on Twitter the other day, like, oh, I wonder if they have a sports one. Because Epstein was doing like scientists and politicians and stuff. And then you got Diddy doing the music industry. And they thought that like maybe Epstein or somebody, or Weinstein was doing like Hollywood or something like that. They were like, oh, we have all these guys. What about the sports industry? And I'm like, hey, you guys, I think there's probably like 10 guys that do politics. I think there's 10 guys that do the music industry. I think they can lose P. Diddy because they got 9 other guys to do it. You know what I mean? Like they don't. They're basically like, probably P. Diddy was talking back to his superiors, and they're like, we made you, we can destroy you. You don't get too uppity there, pal. And so, boom, he's out, and everybody else knows you don't F with them now, right? Huff Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, as usual, comes in with the first super chat of the day. Don't know how that's the first super chat, but thank you so much. He said, playing outside with my boy. I will catch the end. Thank you so much, my friend. You should be outside right now. You should not be watching our show. I do appreciate anybody who is getting fresh air. That is one of the reasons I'm traveling right now, so that I'm not just stuck in a room all the time on my computer. I like being outside. I love the motorcycle. I love playing tennis. I love doing the Muay Thai. I like doing anything physical where I can breathe and I can be outside and I can move. Sitting around is not the best life. I don't think it's a good life. I think you kind of destroy your life that way.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to the next. All right, so Ukraine-Israel aid bill includes $3.5 billion to supercharge mass migration from the Middle East.
Hold on 1 minute. There we go.
So President Joe Biden's pro-migration border chief is opening new processing centers for Muslim migrants amid pro-Hamas riots in U.S. cities. And just after Congress granted $3.5 billion more for migration within the $95 billion aid package for Ukraine and Israel. So
yeah, this is wild, right?
Yep.
So like, I read through this story and I kind of opened my eyes to some things, which I shouldn't have been surprised by, but I was still like, you got to be kidding me kind of thing. You know what I mean? So a lot of this money that is supposed to go to Ukraine and Israel, right? Like, you know that anytime they pass like a major funding bill, like the infrastructure bill, or the COVID relief money, all that crap, most of it is going to go to the buddies of the politicians, or it's going to go, right? It's going to go in this place or that place to, boost up a company that helps Nancy Pelosi with her investments, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's all corrupt garbage. Oh, let's get a monorail over here. The monorail, folks. It'll only cost you $1 million. Oh, actually, it'll cost you $10 billion, and it'll be 40 years. Sorry about that. It'll never get finished. Actually, that's what they do, right? They're just stealing tax money and they're using it to modify different markets so that they make like obscene amounts of money. They're just stealing money. They're just thieves. They're just con artists. It's terrible. So anytime you see this massive funding bill like this, $3.5 billion, that it's not going to what they say. Everybody's like, oh, we shouldn't be funding Ukraine. We shouldn't be funding Israel. We shouldn't be funding these things. Like, a lot of people are like worried about that kind of thing. I think actually you should be more worried about the fact that they're not even the money's not even going to where they're pretending it's going.
Yeah.
And a lot of this money, according to this report, this is a shocking report. In fact, I should do a video on this. This is such a big story.
Yes.
Remind me to do that, Jace.
I will.
The money is actually
going. You can post it on Rumble.
I will. Biden. No, somebody asked if we're live streaming to Rumble. We're not. We tried live streaming last week. It was an absolute disaster. So we may start live streaming in the future on Rumble, but right now it's too difficult. Rumble is a very difficult platform to stream on, and also stream simultaneously on other platforms. So it was such a disaster. We just went back to our old system. Dane Piglet jumped in.
Go ahead.
Let me read the super chat, and you can then go. Dame Piglet jumped in. Which Speaker of the House ran this through? That's one for you, Jason.
Exactly. Thank you, Dame Piglet. Thank you. Back to this. Like, so think about it. It was 95 billion, right? Am I correct? 95 billion.
3.5 billion.
Well, I'm saying the whole.
You mean the whole bill?
Yeah. It was 95 billion, and it's supposed to go to Ukraine, all these foreign countries. So nothing for here. But think about it. You have 3.5 billion going to NGOs to bring illegals into this country. So instead of putting some money to stop the illegals from coming in, like the wall or whatever, they're actually put a little money to bring people in. Now, for me, that's crazy. Like,
you kind of stopped me before I could explain the story to people, but yeah, you kind of went through it.
Oh,
but
I
anyway,
stole your point. Yes, I stole your point. Am I as smart as Mr. Reagan? Yes.
You kind of jumped in on that. But look. So the story is about they're using a lot of this cash so that Biden's administration can fly illegals. They're like facilitating illegal immigration into America. Now, we knew this was happening. I made a video about the flights that they're doing into America, bringing in illegals, which to me is like insane. Like, if somebody's illegally crossing into America and you help them to do that, you are also guilty of a crime, right? You're what do they keep calling Trump? A co-conspirator?
Yeah.
You're a co-conspirator in bringing people illegally into America. So the Biden administration is facilitating this stuff because the thing is, like, they're fast tracking these people's asylum claims. Now, are these people asylum seekers really? No. The vast majority of them aren't. And the Biden administration knows this. So this is all just a big lie, right? They're just bringing these illegals in for a variety of reasons. We've covered this. One of the reasons is because if you get enough people in a blue state and the census comes around, the census does not distinguish between citizens and non-citizens. So if you get all these illegals to sign up as a person living in a state, guess what the population of a state gives you? It gives you your number of congressmen, and it gives you your number of electors in a presidential election. So they're working this out. This is a scam, right? They know that if they can bring more and more illegals in here, they're going to have such a much bigger population in the blue states, it'll overwhelm the red states. So
talk about election interference and all kinds of stuff. That's
gerrymandering. I mean, whatever. This is the finagling, whatever you want to call it.
I love the way they make it like the Republicans are doing all this gerrymandering scams when it's like they're projecting.
Yeah. No, everything they're doing is a scam, is immoral, is a scheme. They're just dirty tricksters. I mean, that's all the Democrats are. That's all they've ever been. The fact that anybody votes Democrat anymore just like blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be so. Yep. I always say, like, people are gullible, but like, honestly, like I think at this point it takes a level of idiocy to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
I used to think it was just gullible people.
I get it though. Like, if you're a person that worships the devil, you would vote Democrat. I get it. I understand totally. But other than that, I can't. I don't understand.
They just did. I'm going to do a video on this coming up, but they just posted this, or I guess Elon Musk posted it or commented on it or something. This graph that showed who votes Democrat versus Republican, and like every demographic group, basically, like. It was like, I think they did married men, single men, married women, single women. And every group voted Republican more than Democrat, except single women. And single women, the margin was like insane. It was like 60-something% voted Democrat of single women. And it's like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
the video, what I'm
Yeah.
going to do in the video, so there's a little bit of a, so if you get a sneak preview here, if you watch the live stream, what I'm going to do in the video is kind of talk about how the Democrat has essentially shifted their platform, not necessarily to cater to, I've talked about this before on the show, but not necessarily to cater to these special interest groups. Yes, they do. So they want the LGBTQ community to go, oh yeah, the Democrat Party believes in us, they support us, blah, 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 blah. They want that. But what they want more is for American single women to go, they care about the gays. Well,
Yeah.
I just love that. They want the American, like these single women, to go, they care about the immigrants. Oh, I just love that. You know
Yeah.
why? Because you tell a woman a story, and I'm sorry to the women out there who aren't like this, and but women are very much controlled by their emotions, much more than men.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I don't want to like piss anybody off, because this is not, I've met some very, very amazing. In fact, the other day I met this woman, quite a big girl, like obese. I would say she's obese. Okay. And she was a phenomenal athlete. And it kind of challenged my notion of like being fat isn't healthy. I think being fat isn't healthy like the vast majority of the time. But every once in a while, you can get somebody who you're just like, how is that possible that person moves like that? I'm sure she still probably has health problems from her weight, but I'm just like, gosh, she's like more athletic than I am. Like, how is that possible? It's crazy. She's a big girl, So there are some exceptions to these things, but for the most part, women do tend to be impacted by their emotions a lot more than men. So
I
if
thought you liked
tell
Russians.
I
You
wasn't
dated this
dating
girl?
her. No, I just it's a girl I met. Anyway, but
Emotions.
Try to do.
Emotions.
What are you trying to sell? Spread a web of lies here, Jason? Trying to spread rumors? This is not cool. No. Yeah. So if you tell a girl something like this sob story about this little boy trying to cross the border, and he just wanted to feed his family, and you tell her this story, or about this pregnant woman who just barely made it across the Rio Grande, but the struggle was so difficult because the border patrol was yelling at her so much that she lost the child, something like that, right? You tell us some sob story, and she'll just be like, oh my God, we've got to help these people, and they'll just do anything that you say. She'll just do anything you say, because women are controlled by their emotions. And so you've got this whole demographic group that the Democrats have figured out. All we have to do is tell the right stories and we'll get their votes. And it's becoming more and more of a party of just single women and nothing else. Like everybody else is shifting away.
Yep. By the way, there's nothing wrong with women being emotional like that, because I think that works for like having children.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, they're naturally
you just shouldn't
made
be
like
allowed to vote.
Exactly. But so they're that way because bringing up children, I think you have to have an emotional thing in you, because so
exactly right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to
in
voting,
fact, I don't think you would want it to be any other way.
Yeah, but when it comes down to voting,
I do think that this is why men I do think this is why men historically were like, honey, you shouldn't vote though. Listen, I know you guys want to be equal to men, but the voting thing, it might be a step too far. Yeah. What do you mean why? I don't know, honey, why.
Are you sure you want to? Are you sure you want to vote? How about, can you go make me a sandwich?
No, but it'd be more like, instead of voting, why don't I buy you a nice coat? The old days or anything. What happened? You know what happened? Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad. I don't know if you guys listen to him or watch him or something. Great guy, by the way. Great guy. I was at an event with him once, and we had some fans there, and we were talking to our fans, interacting. But he had this guy who was a big fan of his, and he must have sat there for like 4 hours talking to this guy. And I'm just like, that is the most generous, like, famous person ever. Like, he's just like hanging out with this guy the whole time, just totally chill, just like really, he really was flattered that this guy was such a big fan, and he just took time out of his day and just hung out with this guy. And I just loved it. I just thought it was like the coolest thing. He's a great guy. But anyway, I saw him in this interview, and he presented this case, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. He said that men, basically since the dawn of time, what do we want to do? We want to make the women in our lives happy. That's what we do, right? So women at some point were like, we want to vote. And men were like, I don't think that's a good idea. And women were like, but honey, we want to vote. And women were like, all right. So they just gave him the vote, right? And like, and the problem with that, you think, okay, well, that's actually good. It's equal. Everybody gets like a voice and blah, 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 and all that crap. But we keep doing that with everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, honey, we should let illegal immigrants cross over the border. Yeah, okay, I've heard all the bad arguments against it and everything, but like, look at them. They're so cute. And the husband's like, all right. Yeah. And then, babe, there's all these problems. I've heard the problems. I don't care. Yeah, all right. And like, oh, honey, we got to help the black people. All the black people, they need our help. Babe, they're human beings. Okay. They can help themselves. No, but they're not. They're like kind of human beings. They're not quite up to our level. You know, they can't quite make it on their own. We got to help them out. Husband's like,
did I marry this girl? Who did I marry?
Yeah, yeah. Not so loud, honey. Not so loud.
Rethink my life.
I'll help them. All right. But let's not say that in public ever again. Let's just like keep quiet about that. So like men just kind of like go along with what women want. And we're in a position now. I think he was more talking about some other kinds of things, but I think it applies here. We really do kind of just give in to what women want and now women are all in these positions of power, you know, like women have all these great careers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we've got this problem where men used to be dominant in so many ways, financially dominant. We used to be more respected in society and everything like that. So when we were trying to help women, that actually made sense because like it was balanced. Like you'd get women who are a little bit more vulnerable, both physically, socially, economically, whatever. And you had these big, strong men come and help them. And it was a great system. And now you got these big, strong men kind of going to help them and women going, I don't need your help. I can make my own money. It's like, oh, okay. Well, what am I doing here then? I don't know. I got a vibrator at home. I don't need you. You know,
exactly.
Guys like, I guess I'll go hang out with the guys then. And our society's all screwed up now. But anyway, sorry. That was my little bit of theater for the day.
Your wife's son, I don't have a TikTok, never been on TikTok, but I'm curious. Spider filter prank. That's weird. And then Rich says, but married women don't vote the same way as single women.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Married women mostly vote Republican. Yeah, the world's gone crazy. But
it has. But I have these conversations all the time with my wife about the voting, women voting and all that, and even in the workplace stuff. Like the reason why I think they made women vote is and women's lib movement and all that is it's just another taxpayer in the cog of the machine, you know. So another cog in the machine.
I don't think it was that cynical.
Money.
I don't actually think it was that cynical. It's like saying oh, Christmas is just a holiday they use to make money. That's not
well,
true.
You know, I am the one that's always like cynical.
Yeah, you are the black-pilled nihilist.
I also think
let's
like
get back to
trying to get rid of men from giving them less and less power. Go ahead.
No, it is funny. They do consolidate power when they dilute the power of most of the populace, which is what they did when women came into the. Anyway, let's get back to the point. This bill that they passed, so much of this money is going to bring in immigrants, illegal immigrants. Like how is it possible that our taxpayer money is being spent on facilitating the illegal immigration of people who should not be here? Like, to me, this is a betrayal. Like, to me, this is treasonous.
Well, Chris,
Yeah.
write to Mike Johnson about that. He's the one that passed it.
That wasn't as funny as you think it was.
Well, it's true, though. It might not be funny, but it's true. We got stabbed in the back. Okay. Yeah.
Right, let's go on to the next story. I'm just made sick by the fact that the Biden administration is just screwing over our country, and he's using taxpayer money to do it. It's mental. And like you said, instead of using that money to build the border, which, by the way, they're legally required to do, instead they're using it to fly people over the border. It's mental.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. What's going on is crazy. Like I said in another episode, it's close to treason. Like, it's getting to that point. But moving on.
I think moving on that point. Yeah, let's move
on. Drag queen tells children to chant "Free Palestine" during story time. That's for me. That's hilarious, because I wish he would go to Palestine and kind of go over there and defend Palestine. He'd be the first one being tossed off a building. So,
yeah. What? Oh my gosh. This is an unfortunate looking dude. I think, with or without the wig. What a weirdo. Drag queen invited children to chant "Free Palestine" during a story event at a Massachusetts art center recently. I would leave it to Massachusetts, right?
Yeah. It's incredible. It's just, they're just out to subvert everything in the United States, because they really don't care about Palestine. Let's be honest.
Right.
It's just something that's
no, they don't.
Like, the Democrats, all they care about is everything bad, that not good, and everything that's good, everything that's wholesome, everything that makes a nation great. They just want to bring that down and destroy it. So anything that goes against that, they're going to support.
Well, the drag queen thing is particularly weird, because drag queens, like, I think a lot of the left wing, the way that they validate their weird LGBTQP positions is by saying they were born that way, right? This is the big scam that Milo Yiannopoulos woke me up to, which was the idea that in the 90s, the LGBTQ movement. So now, they didn't used to believe that gay men were born gay. They used to think it was a choice. This was assumed to be true. Or it was a compulsion, or was just a sexual proclivity, right? A perversion, a strange sexual, an aberrant sexual behavior that they just did, because it was their kink or whatever the hell being gay was. And then they decided that, actually, we want gay men to be able to get married. And I actually don't believe, because I remember when this was happening in the 90s, I remember all the arguments for it and everything. And I think that 99% of the people who were arguing for gay marriage, they were not being sincere about wanting gay marriage because they wanted to get married to another man or whatever. I think it was because, just like how in Toronto the gay street is called Church Street, in New York how they turned this actual old church into a gay nightclub, because, the way that in Los Angeles the main gay club is called the Abbey. They're always trying to put this religious spin on homosexuality because they're trying to cut down Christianity, because they hate Christianity, they hate Christians, they see Christianity as the enemy. What is the institution of marriage but one of the great institutions of the Christian faith? Now, it's also true in the Muslim faith and in other faiths, the Jewish faith. Everybody gets married, but they get married according to their faith, according to their religion. Now, gay people want to get married, but they're just trying to basically spit in the face of traditional people. That's what I felt like they were doing in the 90s. But they figured out a way to get this. And the way they figured out how to get it, well, first of all, Matthew Shepard, the Matthew Shepard story, which was, by the way, Matthew Shepard was not a gay man that was killed for being gay. It was part of like a whole drug deal scheme. You can read into it. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that lie by the media, but then also the gay community, the LGBTQ activists, they figured out that if they could convince everyone that gay people were born gay, that people would perceive it as an immutable characteristic in the same way being black was. And they could cast gay people as an oppressed minority in the way that they were convincing everybody that black people were an oppressed minority. And they'd say, well, if black people get all these special rights for being black, we should get all these special rights for being gay because people hate us for being gay. And it's so hard to be gay. We should have special rights. And a lot of people went, yes, you should have special rights. And that's how, but what's weird about the drag queen thing for me is that drag queens are like, they're not even trying to claim they were born that way. These are just dudes that like to wear women's clothes and dress and like act in a sort of like quasi-sexual provocative way. And then they want to do this in front of children. And for some insane reason, which I don't understand, as some kind of political position, the parents of these kids put their kids in front of these drag queens. And in this particular instance, it's for Free Palestine, which, like you said, they probably don't even care about that either. It's just a political position that's trendy right now. And I think it's all for virtue signaling. I think it's all to say, look, I'm cool. I'm one of the cool kids. I'm doing the trendy thing. And I used to give these parents a break, actually, because I used to say, look, I think a lot of these parents really do believe that, you know, these people are oppressed and they're like, and they need to show support for these people and all this kind of stuff. But here's the thing about that. I have a brother who has 4 children. And my brother turned to, like, I was on the phone with him talking about this, and I was trying to give these parents the benefit of the doubt. And my brother goes, Chris, as a father, I can tell you 100% these parents know exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
No parent doesn't know what they're doing when they sit their kid in front of a drag queen. Okay. The parents are just evil. These parents are just effing evil. How could you put your kid through that? It's your child. You want to put your child through something that's going to like scar them psychologically for life? What the F is wrong with you? So I have no sympathy for these parents anymore. I used to be not a little nicer, but my brother black-pilled me, Jason.
Yeah, your brother's 100% correct.
Yeah, Jason as a father would understand this.
Yes. It sickens me.
Anything to say about the drag queen Palestine story?
Just when the religion of peace takes over most of the world, Europe and the United States, the problem will be solved because there won't be any more homosexuals and transvestites walking around anymore.
That is true. That is true. Maybe we should import more of them. Go Biden. Let's go Biden. Anyway, it's Brandon. I messed it up.
Yeah. So anyway, leading into the next story, which kind of,
well, hold on. Let me just say something real quick. I don't. The Muslim thing is a tough one for me because I have some friends that are Muslims, and they're real great guys. They're really great people. You know, a lot of these people. But here's the problem, I think, with the Muslim situation is that when you go to different regions of the world, there's different kinds of Muslims and they believe different kinds of things. And some of them are quite, I would say, immoral people, you know, from a Western standard, like the way that we perceive morality. And you can say the same thing about some Christians. But the difference, I think, is that, like, if you go down to South America and you go to like the Mexican cartels where they all have like Catholic tattoos and stuff like that. Most Christians would say, well, those guys aren't really Christians, you know, those guys are murderers and they're masquerading as Christians. They're degenerate pieces of crap and they're not really Christians. We don't associate with them. But a lot of Muslims will be like, well, the Taliban, they are Muslim. They're just very strict Muslims. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a kind of like a gradation. You get Muslims who will say, no, people like the Taliban are crazy. They're not good Muslims. They're horrible people. And then you get people sort of in the middle that are like, well, I kind of support the Taliban. And you're like, really? And they're like, yeah, because, they're really just like the most strict kind of Muslim. And then, of course, you get people that are like actually Taliban, like crazy. So you get this weird gradation. In the Christian world, you don't really get that at all. Almost every Christian would be like, no, murdering people is not Christian behavior. That's insane. And so they just like, they're kind of like ostracized from the rest of Christianity. They're criminals. They're considered bad people. And you get bad people in every faith. You get bad people in every culture and everything like that. But for the most part, I think Christians, they don't, it's not a religion. It's a very, very peaceful religion in the sense that it's like, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Turn the other cheek. Love your exactly. Neighbor. Love your enemy. Love everyone. And so I think that leftists, and by leftists, what I really mean are leftist atheists. I think leftist atheists get confused about religion because they see Christians and they hate Christians, but they see that Christians, even if they don't like Christians, they think Christians are bad. They do see that Christians aren't actually necessarily like violent, aggressive, vicious people. And they actually see that Christians are kind of welcoming and loving and all that kind of thing. And they have this association with Christianity and religion, and then they associate other religions with that as well. And they don't realize that these other cultures, these other faiths, they don't always exactly have the same moral system as the Christian faith. And again, like a lot of Muslims are great people. I'm not trying to suggest that every Muslim is like that, but there is a fairly large segment of the Muslim population that is pretty dangerous and is pretty, like, I would say, at odds with the Christian values that we have in America. Even if you're an atheist, atheists in America do appreciate a lot of the Christian values that we have here, even if they wouldn't call them that. What's funny is I've talked to atheists about this.
Look, Chris, look. I got to
don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Let me finish this. 2 more seconds.
Okay.
I've talked to atheists about this, and they refuse to acknowledge that any of the values that we have in the West are Christian values. They will say, no, they're universal values. And to that I say, okay, you just haven't traveled. You just haven't traveled. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, I kind of disagree with you about the Muslims. And it's not like I hate Muslims, because I also have very few Muslim friends. But here's the thing. Like, if Muslims come to a country, and right now they're the minority, so it's not as, they don't have too much of a say in things. But as soon as they become the majority, you're going to have Sharia law. They're definitely going to bring their laws, their beliefs, no matter what the minority says, So, like with the Muslims, they're practicing what they preach. In their countries, they're actually practicing what they preach. Christians are kind of, because what you said, the way we are. But Muslims, I have respect for them because they practice what they preach. They actually like go through with their beliefs. They'll come to a country, take it over, and they'll transform it into what they believe is right.
I'll agree with you, and I'll.
Wait, hold on. You cut me off. That's why I'm saying, like, it's not like I don't want Muslims to exist, but they have their part of the world, and we should have our part of the world, and because their culture does not mix with our liberties, our constitution, our beliefs, So that's my whole thing with that.
I'll go further, and I'll explain what I think Muslims would actually do, because I don't necessarily think it would be, because when you say they'll bring Sharia law and all this stuff, I think people think, oh, it's this sort of scary Taliban Muslims. But I actually think the sort of moderate Muslims would come in and change things. And the way I explain that is like, imagine that over 50% of the Senate and over 50% of the House were Muslims, Republicans, were Muslims, and that the president was a Muslim, right? They could then change anything they want in the Constitution. or do they need a 2/3 majority? I can't remember. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is once they get to a certain majority, they could change the Constitution.
Yes.
And if they're changing the Constitution, they could change it, like you say, to Sharia law. They could change it to, because the thing is, anywhere you go in the world, if it's a Muslim country, it's not a secular government, right? It's a Muslim government. In fact, I can't be 100% sure of this. I'd have to look into it. There probably are a few Muslim regions that have a secular government. I think Turkey might be one of them. I have to look into that because
you go to one of the most freest parts in the Muslim world, like the United Emirates. It's still like women don't have the freedoms that they have here. It's still crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's
the thing is, it changes a lot country to country. They change. Sometimes it's like a theocracy, and sometimes it's a secular government. It's, you have to go. You know, I have to pay attention to this in like real time, which I haven't been. But the point I'm trying to make is most Muslim governments, if not all Muslim regions of the world, have a Muslim government. That is the official religion, and a lot of the tenets of their faith are in the law.
Yes.
We don't have that in America. I mean, look, I do think that Christian morality informs the law for sure, and I think it should inform the law. We are a Christian country from our inception, right? That is our, traditionally that's what we are. A lot of people go, we're not a Christian country because, you know, technically Christianity can't be the religion of the state and blah blah blah. No, Christianity is not the religion of the state, but Christianity. Yeah. And they're like, oh, and Thomas Jefferson wasn't really a Christian; he was a Gnostic or something. It's like, no, they were all basically Christians. You know what I mean? They were debating the specifics of the Christianity or the specifics of the faith or whatever. But these guys were Christians. Most of our ancestors were Christian. Everybody who always like argues this stuff, this is so lame to me.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
You could just look into it like at a very basic level, and you'll learn it for real. But they just get their hooks into something that they like, and they go with it like crazy.
Yeah, but, like our nation is, it won't, the Constitution, our nation won't work without a moral Christian civilization running it, being in it.
At
you
the
know,
core.
it's just not going to work.
Yeah. We come from a core morality. Like, okay, now we're going to get into a little bit of philosophy here, but like, if you don't have a God, if you don't have something supernatural that you have a duty to, then there is no morality, actually. Nothing means anything, actually. Yes. Without God, the life is meaningless, right? We're just sort of like a random thing that happened in the universe, and none of the observation or technological advancements in the world.
Like earlier, when you were talking about your story about the massage, I would have told you, if there was no God and we didn't believe in God, I would say, go for the happy ending. What do you got to lose, you know?
Yeah. Okay, Dame Piglet jumped in with $5. She says, Muhammad was wicked as his religion. Muslims who are not devout are good people. Also, did Kurt spill on his keyboard again? Yes, he spilled. Yes, Kurt and the pickle juice story. I don't know if you guys have heard that. Kurt once took a jar of pickles. I was talking about how technologically retarded that my buddy Kurt is. I don't know why he said Trump. That's funny.
We've just been demonetized. You said the word.
Yeah. But Kurt took this jar of pickles, and he was eating a jar of pickles. I don't know why. Who just sits there and eats a jar of pickles? Kurt, apparently. But he took this jar and he lifted it up and he carried it across his laptop. And as he was like right above the laptop, you'd think the top would pop off, but no, the whole like bottom half sheared off from the top half, fell down, and then pickle juice everywhere, destroyed his computer. Kurt's magical when it comes to like not being able to function with technology. He's no, Kurt disappeared for no reason, and we're trying to figure out which bizarre homosexual activity that he's been up to.
Yeah, I think he's transitioning.
He thinks today was his operation. We'll find out if he comes back as Kurtina.
But with that question in mind, the next story kind of leans into that as well. With history repeats, Paris Holmes tagged with Star of David. I think this is like really just messed up.
Yes, I remember this story. Hold on, let me find it here. Like, how is this happening again? Well, we obviously know
why this is happening again. But it's just crazy, you know, like these liberal lefties, they're such hypocrites.
Right. Hold on, I'm gonna try to. You didn't give me the right link. I'm gonna try to open up the other link. There we go.
And it's
So
not like I'm like full blown support of Israel, but I mean, this is crazy.
This is from This is from Nazi Germany here, and this is now. But let's be honest about what's going on here. Let's be honest about what's going on here. These are not Germans doing this.
I think it's French.
You think it's French people?
I get. Yes.
Come on.
It's not French Nazis people.
Guess again. Yes. Guess again. No, this is going to be. Who are we talking about before? This is going to be the Muslims.
Yes.
Now here's the awful thing about this. Here's the awful thing about this. This is my
hold on, Chris. I think it's Muslims, but I also think it's some liberal lefties too, commies, doing this as well. Because it seems to me that here in the United States and abroad, they really hate Jewish people.
Yeah, but a lot of that does come from the Palestinian effort. And I think the people who hate the Jews the most right now are Palestinians and or their allies. Hold on, Dame Piglet jumped in. I'm so sorry, I got you demonetized. No, you didn't. You didn't. We were going to get demonetized no matter what. Look, here's what's going on. Here's what really pisses me off about this. Okay, so you got these Muslim, probably, I don't know who, some jerks going around and like putting these Stars of David on, identifying the Jews in the neighborhood, like, these are the evil Jews or whatever it is, right?
You know what's funny? If there's one that they painted and the poor guy's not a Jew and he's like getting attacked, hold on.
I'm sure there's plenty. I'm sure that's happening for sure. But like the Muslims in Europe and especially France have been attacking Christians for decades now.
Yes.
Like literally decades, like at least 20 years. And not only they've been attacking Christians, they've been like messing up churches.
Yep.
They've been like, at the top of these mountains, if you hike up a mountain in Europe, they put a cross at the top of the mountain. That's like a traditional thing in Europe. And they've been going up to the top of the mountains and just knocking down the crosses.
Yep.
And like throwing them down the side of the mountain. They've been taking statues of like Mary, Jesus, Joseph, whatever, knocking them down, destroying them. They'll like spray paint churches. And I think we all know what happened in Notre Dame. Okay.
Yep.
Like
exactly.
The authorities say, we don't know what happened. That could have been anything. Okay. You're telling me that one of the most priceless, like, this is one of the great wonders of the world, right? Man-made wonders of the world. The Notre Dame is considered one of the most beautiful buildings in the history of civilization. And you didn't have CCTV cameras in a major European, in Paris. You didn't catch that. You can't catch the. Okay, we all know. Is this?
Yeah, I have a theory about that, Chris. So,
well, let me just say this. Let me just finish real quick. I
don't want to forget what I'm. Go ahead.
Okay, but look, what happens in America when there's a mass shooter? One of two things happen. Either you hear about his race because he's white, or you don't hear about his race. And when you don't hear about his race, you know he's not white.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly what happened in Paris. If this was like a white Parisian, some kind of like white European, we would have heard about it. It would be on the news. They would have caught the guy. They would have found out. I think what happened is they didn't like the fact that, this was the kind of guy it could cause racial tensions. We don't want to call out the Muslim community. Let's just pretend that we don't know what happened to the Notre Dame.
Yep.
And now this is going on and you don't hear who's doing it. Come on, you know who's doing it. Check the cameras.
Yeah.
You know who's doing it. The fact they're not reporting who's doing it lets you know exactly who's doing it.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory. So I think letting in Muslims into these countries is purposely done by the left. I think they're doing it on purpose. I think they want that. I think they want to cause disruption and division. So that's why they bring them in. So I was in Europe when Notre Dame caught on fire, actually. And me and my wife were actually in Notre Dame like a couple days before it burned down. I've been there twice, but it was the first time my wife went into Notre Dame. I told her, "Man, you're so lucky that you got to witness see and witness Notre Dame before it burned down." Like, we were literally
Right.
in France watching it on the news. This place burning down, and I love this place. Notre Dame for me was like one of the greatest places in the world to
That's
go visit.
beautiful, man.
Um,
I took some amazing. There's this really cool place that you can take photos where there's like a fair, like a merry-go-round, like with horses.
uh-huh.
It's pretty close to Notre Dame, and if you get there, you can get the horses and the merry-go-round and Notre Dame in the background. It's just a magical, like everything about that place is magical. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic place.
So my theory is that they brought in these Muslims on purpose. They're doing the job that they want them to do. I believe the leftists that run France wanted this to happen. I believe they wanted the church to be destroyed. I believe they want everything that deals with religion, God. I think they want it all destroyed, so that way they could bring their new age belief system, which is government. What did they do to Notre Dame after it burns down? They're changing it to this modern, new kind of new age religion thing, like, so for me, the job was done. They brought the people in. They did what they wanted them to do. But now the problem with that is, like I said, when they start getting the majority, because they have a lot of kids. So once they start getting the majority, it's gonna bite them in their butt, and it's gonna actually work against them, and they just don't realize this, or maybe they have a plan for that.
Humanity needs meaning. Human beings need to have a purpose, and they see that there is more to this life than just food, eating, going to the toilet, breathing and watching TV and mating and hanging out with your friends. And we see that there's more than that. We see that there's something special and magical about at least aspiring to have some connection to something spiritual. And so people need that and they want that. And if you take that from them, they will find it somewhere. And so if you create a spiritual vacuum, something will fill the void. And it's not going to be, like the allegiance to the state thing can work, but I think it only goes so far. You will eventually get something else filling that gap. And I don't know if Islam is what you necessarily want.
Yeah,
it might be what some people want, but I don't think it's what the drag queens want.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But
and if you're Jewish and you bring in a Muslim majority, there's going to be a certain segment of that group that you might find doesn't like you very much.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like if you're Jewish, even if you're like a Reformed Jew, or if you're any kind of LGBTQ whatever, like I actually think you and I are pretty safe from the Muslims. Like
why?
from the
we kind of look
angry Muslims. A little bit, yeah. Well, but also like look, again, like I would say most sort of like maybe I would say non super religious, super aggressive Muslims, like most sort of like Muslims from like Tehran or something like that. They're actually all right. They're actually like there's some people that I really have enjoyed being friends with in my life. But we're talking about the Muslims who are like a little bit more radical, a little bit more aggressive, and intolerant of other people, other groups. Like I think that's the big thing. That's really the word there, right? Tolerance. Christians practice tolerance. That's where we get it in the West. You guys think we just made that up out of nothing? No, that is the Christian ethic. Love your enemy. The concept of love your enemy is love the other, right? The concept of the Good Samaritan. You remember the parable of the Good Samaritan?
Yeah.
The Good Samaritan was a non-Jew that went and helped out a Jew, even though the Samaritans and the Jews didn't get along. Yeah. All the other Jews were walking past this poor guy on the street. The Samaritan goes and helps him. And the whole point of the parable was to say, look, even if you're the other, you can still be a good person. Like, don't hate people just because they're different, right? That was the whole concept of that. So that has turned into our society. In our society, we now like the other more than we like ourselves.
Yeah.
We go, you know who the bad guy is? The evil straight white man. We're the bad ones. We're naughty. Everybody else is awesome.
Christians even take it further. Like, we want to be persecuted and killed for our beliefs and religion, because it actually gives us like meaning to what we believe. And it's a greater gift.
I have no interest in that. I don't agree with this.
But
This
what I'm
is
saying is, like,
Jason's
even if
own
we
thing.
have if we have persecution, if they're killing us for our belief, we don't look at it as a negative, because we don't think of things here worldly on the world. We think of things heavenly. So
Right.
our reward's going to be greater.
But I don't think that
heaven.
I don't think we
obviously we don't want to get killed.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously we don't want to get killed,
but we accept that as part of being a Christian.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is they have distorted the Christian view of love your enemy, and they've made it love your enemy more than your own family, which is completely ridiculous. But that's what
that ain't gonna happen with me.
Do. But they also then they also have this idea that every culture believes this. Every culture has a love your enemy edict.
No.
And it's not true. You guys don't get it. Like, you don't get it.
There is no other culture that believes that. It's only Christian.
Just the white Europeans.
Yes.
White Christian Europeans. And
what did white Christian Europeans do to Europe? Like, Christianity came in, they changed paganism, they changed the Vikings. Wait, maybe this is a bad thing. Maybe we cut the balls off of all these men.
Yeah. I mean, that's a theory. But here's the thing. So most of the world, whether it's China, whether it's like the Islamic, the Islamic extremists, whether it's, even some people in Europe. I mean, a lot of the world, guys, a lot of the world wants to kill us. Okay. We're king of the hill. They want to cut us down to size. Okay. Yeah. You think that everybody in the world looks at America and goes, oh, those guys are great. We love them. Let me tell you guys a story. This is a real quick one. This is not... I kind of don't want to tell this story, actually. But I will anyway. I'm not going to specify the group. But there is a specific kind of guy that I meet sometimes in my travels who automatically hates me. And I won't tell you what part of the world this kind of guy is from, but it's a part of the world that is less well off than America, let's say. And if I go to Sweden, or if I go to the UK, okay, or if I go to Germany, that's another good example. I can be friends with those guys, or Australia as well, also cool. These guys are awesome. Okay, I can be friends with an Australian guy in a second. I can be friends with a Swedish guy in a second, a Danish guy, a German guy, an English guy, whatever. These guys will be friends. You know why? Because they don't have an inferiority complex. They don't look at me and resent me for being American. They go, oh, you're American. That's cool. I'm a Swede. Swedes are also awesome. Let's be friends. They don't feel like intimidated by the American guy. This is the American. Oh, he's so cool, right? But there are people from some places who really flippin' hate Americans because they look at us as superior. And so they resent us because they would prefer that they were superior, and they don't know how to deal with that. They have this, like, maybe they even admire America, but they have this, they refuse to allow themselves to like you. So they're just a dick. And these people are just such dicks. And I don't want to say what part of the world they're from, but there are some guys from some parts of the world that I still don't give up on them. When I meet them, I'm nice. But I know that they're going to be dicks. So oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm just waiting for it. And eventually, boom, there it is. Okay, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, you're an asshole. That kind of thing. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of the world want to kill us. Yes. A lot of the world hate us. A lot of the world resent us. A lot of the world want to get rid of us.
Yes.
You cannot assume that everybody is like the nice, pretty Christians. Some people out there are pretty brutal. You do not want to be bringing these people into the U.S.
That's what the people don't
or
get here in the U.S. Like a lot of these people here that live here
or
is
France.
that
France. This is the subject of our article, France. So we should say you don't want to bring them into France either.
Yeah, they don't understand. They don't get it. Like they're so safe here. Like they don't understand. Like you said, a lot of the world wants to kill us. They don't want us
A
to
lot
exist.
Americans live in a
Yeah.
cozy little bubble.
Yep.
Yeah. It's sad. It's like
it
we
is.
got to wake up. We got to be a little bit more.
Yep. Agreed.
Wake up to reality. You know.
But moving on. I think this kind
All right, we got another story. Do we have another story, Jason?
Yes, we do.
Fantastic.
So this Elon Musk sent out an X post, and it's a graph, and he says this graph illustrates the woke mind virus taking over legacy media. Same happened with online media and the education system. Then it spread to other countries. Infection rate almost 100%, but now it will die. But this graph is so perfect. It is like on point. Because I always said, like, what happened before Obama and before Trump? There was no like racism or everybody was getting along pretty much. I mean, I understand there's racism. I get that, but America was pretty over that. And everybody was getting along, and then all of a sudden all the news, everything is about how white supremacy, racism, and all this. And I'm like, this is so manufactured. And I was saying this in 2016, like this is so manufactured, and this chart is just on point.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, what's funny is like if you were sort of cognizant of politics at that time, between like say 2000 and 2020, which I started going to college in 1998. And so I was kind of in college when I was going to school. And actually that's when I met Jason. I met you in 1998, brother.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Time flies.
That's crazy, man. But anyway, at that time, I remember I actually used to watch CNN. Because CNN was pretty neutral. I mean, they at least tried to be. I mean, I knew they were left wing, but they weren't.
Long time ago.
Do you remember when like CNN was normal? Tucker Carlson was on CNN. He did the show called Crossfire, and they would like debate. Republicans and Democrats would debate. It was fantastic. And then like everything went completely mental. Like everybody started talking about race again. Like they started to get these ideas like, oh, we've got to look at historical inequities and things like that. And, they use this like very esoteric, very elitist academic language to talk about insane ideas that just didn't make any sense. And I remember actually at the time when I first started hearing them, because actually in college you could hear them as well, these ideas. I would kind of laugh at them. I actually remember at one point, because I went to school at University of Miami. We met in Miami. And I remember there was a professor who said that if he ruled the world, that he would like take away all inheritance. So if you had a house, if you had a nice house and everything, he would take all that money from you, and all the kids of anybody would have to grow up and like raise their own money and do their own thing and everything. And everybody in the class was like, okay, that sounds all right. That makes sense. And I raised my hand and I go, isn't that basically communism?
Yeah.
And I remember at that point, every kid in the class, because at that point, communism was still considered something bad, right? Every kid in the class goes, oh, Chris just called out the professor for being a communist. They were all like, holy crap, I can't believe Chris said that, And then my professor turned to everybody in the class and goes, yeah, so what? And everybody in the class goes, ah,
Yeah.
Like
wow.
That's incredible. Here's the crazy thing, Jason. He and I were actually friends. Like we became friends after that, because he was the kind of person who respected being challenged.
Yeah.
Like nobody else in the class was challenging him. And so he was just like rolling them over, with these idiotic ideas. And I go, excuse me, that's stupid. And he's like, somebody who stands up for himself. I like it. And so we went and had lunch and stuff. We like hung out. It was funny. Like we disagreed about everything, but
Yeah.
we could
Yeah.
kind of like have a conversation. That was what life was like back in
Yep.
2000. And then this went crazy. But what's weird is I remember this happening. I actually remember this happening. But like, what's crazy is to see it in this graph form, like to see how
Yeah.
high that those numbers go. To me, that's the that's the beauty of this graph. Is like you don't really realize how the world has changed until you see it illustrated in a way like this, and then you go,
And
oh
it's
yeah, dang,
and you can see through that chart, it's a purposely done change. It's just not
yeah,
organic. It's just people just didn't turn racist overnight.
yeah.
It's purposely done. It was manufactured. Um, yeah, and
Well,
it's crazy.
look at those percentages that you've got.
Yep.
700%, 750. Washington Post only 361. You know why? Because they were always idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's crazy to me that. But he's right. I mean, this is about being woke, right? Because like you could say that racists, and racism don't indicate that they're like, go. But like Tucker Carlson just posted a video, and I haven't seen it yet, but I would love to see it because this is something that I've been talking about for a long time, and maybe I should have pointed it out for the show today. But maybe I'll do a video on this. Yeah, I might do a video on this. I'll have to try to remember to do that. But
Yeah, this
Tucker
chart
actually
needs a video.
not that chart. Tucker Carlson, and I'll have to watch this video to figure out if I want to do this. But Tucker Carlson just did a video about how white men, straight white men in America, are now the new oppressed minority.
Mhm.
And this is something that I have been saying, and I remember saying this. Let me try to remember the year. 2008, I think, something like that. At least 2008, maybe 2006, something. I remember specifically having a conversation with my buddy in Las Vegas, a buddy of mine, who subsequently went gay. I'm pretty sure because, I'm just that hot. But he subsequently went gay. And he's a gay actor in Hollywood, Mexican guy. And he never would agree with me that straight white men were the oppressed minority in America. He always thought I was crazy. He would make fun of me. He would joke. He's a very funny guy, actually. And he would like make jokes and stuff. That's why we were friends. Because I'm often friends with guys who you wouldn't think I'd be friends with, but they're funny. So I'm friends with them, This guy was one of the funniest guys I ever met in my life. But he wouldn't agree with me on politics ever until like 2 years ago. And he calls me up and he goes, Chris, I think I'm a Republican now. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, I'm on set all day and all I hear is everybody's just like going off about these straight white men and how evil they are and blah, 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 and how they don't deserve to talk about anything. And I'm just like, oh my God, Chris was right. Chris was right this whole time. They are the oppressed minority. I can't believe it. And so what's weird is you tell somebody stuff and you go, no, dude, seriously. And they're like, no. It's not until it like they experience it that they really can change their mindset. But what's weird is like I've been talking about this for a really long time. I've been seeing it play out, like especially when I tried to get a job in LA once. I tried to get a job on a movie set, and they literally told me outright, we don't hire white men on this show. This is a Latino show. It's either Latinos or Black people or Asians. We don't hire white men. We can hire white women, but we don't hire white men. And I was like, that's an insane rule. Like, you can't say that to people. That's illegal. And they're like, well, that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, so I've been seeing this for, since 2000 at least. You know what I mean? I've been seeing this stuff, how they're targeting straight white men. And you try to convince people, but they don't see it. What's crazy about Tucker is that Tucker had that Fox show for so long. And I don't think he would have been allowed to say that on Fox. Like that's, I think, maybe a step too far. And then he goes ahead and he gets kicked off of Fox, and now he can say anything he wants. But I think he's still sort of in that mindset of I've got to be careful what I say. I can't go too far. But I think he's finally getting out of it to the point where he can now kind of tell the truth. Because if you say straight white men are actually the victims of bigotry in America, you face two problems. One, you'll face the problem of being just ridiculed, like laughed at. Because people are like, oh, I feel so sorry for you straight white men. Oh, do you not have as much privilege as you used to? They'll say crap like that. It's like, shockingly, no, we don't. Not only do we not have the privilege that we used to have, people don't want to hire us for jobs now. Okay. They will hire anybody over us, even people less qualified, if they're just not straight white men. Like, we are anathema in America now, which is a vicious thing to do, because there's some really great straight white men out there. I'm sorry. Like, we're not all evil a-holes, But then the other thing is, they'll call you racist because you don't recognize the oppression of other people. Oh, women have it so much harder. Black people have it so much harder. Well, no, they don't. Okay? They don't. Society takes care of it. Look, straight white men, we have this like inborn instinct to take care of everybody, believe it or not. Not in the same way a mom does with chicken soup, but like well, I don't want to get into the good people I know, because I don't think they would appreciate this, but I know people who will literally just give people money. Like, they'll just meet you, and if you need something, they'll just give it to you. And I actually used to, when I was making a ton of money on this show, I would send fans stuff that they needed. Like, a fan told me, oh, I need this thing, but I can't afford it. I just sent him the thing. I don't make any money anymore, so I can't do that. But I used to, now I beg for money for people. But I used to just send people, and that's kind of the instinct of the straight white man. If somebody needs help, we help them. That's our instinct. So now we're in this position where in our society, the straight white man is trying to help everybody else still. We still have that sense of duty. We're not respected for it. We're not appreciated for it. And we're crapped on by everybody. And we're rejected from jobs. And we have an impossible time now, because unless you are very lucky, basically, unless you're very lucky as a straight white man, you're screwed. You are screwed. Like, I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I'm not making a ton of money anymore, I'm very, very lucky, because I have a job that I like, and it's a good job. But man, it's tough, and I don't know. That graph really, I'll put the graph back up. That graph really shows exactly how this woke thing, how do I put it back up?
I'm just so grateful for Elon Musk. I mean, I'm not like a biggest Elon Musk guy, but what he's doing is huge, man. Like, that right there is I think one of his greatest posts. Like, it just shows everyone what's really going on. And I've been trying to tell people this. I'm like, all this stuff is manufactured. All, it's, none of it exists. It's fake.
Okay.
It's a power grab. It's come on, like how is the United States in just a few years reverting back over 100 years ago, over 200 years ago? It makes no sense. Okay, let's say even,
you mean we're becoming like segregated and everything?
Yeah, like how are we becoming more racist than during segregation and all that? Like, just come on, it's obvious. And my thing is, it all comes down to subverting this country. They're doing all this. People don't realize that this is all hallmarks of Marxism. This is how they take over society. This is how they change a culture. This is how they change a government. And if it doesn't stop, man, we're headed into some really bad times.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you turn it around? That's the big question. Like, that's kind of what I've been exploring lately on my show and stuff. Just like,
that would have to come down to getting onto Rumble. If you really want me to say. I'm not going to say.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Well, I think that we can still salvage the country. I don't really know how we do that. There has to be a major cultural shift. I don't know what has to happen, but something drastic has to happen, because people see other people as disposable now, because the internet allows you to do anything you want, be with anyone you want, have whatever you want. And like, you get the weirdest stuff now online. You can live in the weirdest worlds. You can just watch TV all day or play video games and be in this other universe, and you don't even have to live in the real world. I mean, it's like, the world's crazy now, And so oftentimes I see that like people will be friends with somebody, or they'll have a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it might be, and they'll just treat them like, I don't really need you, because I can go as soon as we break up, or I stop being friends with you or whatever, I can go find other people, because
Yep.
the world's so connected now that that people have become disposable, and I think that's a bad situation. And I think that people have to kind of wake up. I think people need to. We're so damn comfortable now. We're so damn comfortable that we don't care about changing anything. Like, people have
Yep.
to get uncomfortable somehow.
That's why
Something
I'm
needs to
always
happen
saying
that makes people
it needs to
go,
get really bad.
ah, yeah. I think people need to go, oh crap, like, man, if things don't, like, I need to make a change, or else I'm going to actually have to get up to go eat instead
Yeah.
of ordering,
Yeah, exactly.
Uber Eats every day or something. Like, something precious has to be taken away from people.
Four
so
more
that they
years of
take action.
Biden. 4 more years of Biden will do that. That's why if Trump loses,
Come on, if Biden is elected, nothing's ever going to change, because they will have it locked down after that. Like, this is the most important election. They always say that this is the most important election of our lifetime. This is.
This is.
Demon Slayer just jumped in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Demon Slayer. $5. Demon Slayer, what a cool name, man. You should write a movie called Demon Slayer. I think that'd be cool. Are you aware of the Cloward-Piven strategy? I think that's what's in play right now. Yes, I have actually done a video about the Cloward-Piven strategy. The Cloward-Piven strategy isn't exactly what people think it is, but it's kind of been broadened. I think the definition of what the Cloward-Piven strategy has been broadened, and that was partially due, I think, not partially, I think it was exclusively due to Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck basically used the Cloward-Piven strategy as a jumping off point to say they're kind of doing something similar here. And then now, basically, anytime anybody looks at, like, let's overload the system, so that people are sort of forced into the system kind of situation, they're like, oh, this is a Cloward-Piven strategy. But it used to be a very specific thing that was having to do with welfare. I don't want to get into the details here. I don't think I can, because it's been so long since I've looked into it. But yeah, Cloward-Piven strategy, great thing to look into, especially look at the old Glenn Beck videos on that if you want to see it, or watch my old video on that, which is
I was going to say,
excellent,
they should go and watch your video, because your video is actually on point with that.
Oh, did you watch that?
Yes. Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, Jace. What a guy. What a guy.
Well, moving on. Hamas disappointed. Liberals don't believe they massacred Jews.
Oh, hold on. You got to set this up. Who did this?
Well, I don't want to say yet. I want to read it, and then
this is a Babylon B. This is a joke, guys. This is a joke, guys.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good joke.
It's an on-point joke. Hamas disappointed. Liberals don't believe they massacred Jews after they went to all the trouble to live stream it. Hilarious.
I love the guy with his head in his hands, like, oh, come on, guys, we did this just for you. Like, can't you tell what we're doing here? Like, but that is so funny, because like these extremists, these like crazy, terrorists, they want people to know what they did. And so when leftists go out and they sort of like shill for these terrorists, it is kind of funny, because you can imagine what they're thinking. Like, well, I appreciate the support, guys, but that's not. But no, we did do that. Like, we want people to know that we did that. It's a funny idea. Babylon B is always on point, man. They always got gold. Not too much to say about that. We could probably move on.
Yeah.
We just want to put something funny in.
There's a X post by Mr. Reagan.
Mr. Reagan, who's that? Sounds like a douchebag.
I know him personally, so no.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
So,
and what would you say is the main goal of protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're. Do you know what NYU is doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free.
I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support, so I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
And what would you
I feel bad for
Is she
her, actually.
does she like milk or something? Is she like a cow or something?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, like this
You
is
know, they
this
could
is
be milked. I've heard you can milk anything with nipples. I got
this
that from
is
a movie called Meet the Parents.
this is total useful idiot stuff. Like this is what I'm saying about like a Marxist takeover. Like they just use these people to get what they want.
Yeah, but here's why I actually have a little sympathy for this woman, because when you're in college, most people in college are morons. Like a lot of the people that I knew in college were not like super smart, super savvy people. There is a kind of tendency to just go along with the crowd and do what everybody else is doing because it's like the cool thing to do. You know, like they would occasionally have concerts at my school. And I don't think that the music was music that everybody necessarily liked. It was just they would just go because like it was the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy went to one of these concerts once and kind of were just like making fun of the people because that these kids didn't listen to that kind of music. They just went there because it was like, it was kind of cool that week, whatever, the cool thing to do. And this chick, she has no idea what she's doing. She just heard this is the cool thing to do. This is the cool, like college students like to be left wing because that's cool. And if there's a left wing thing, they think, oh, this is cool. We should do this. We'll be part of history. It'll be cool. It's just people trying to be cool, man. And that's why we need to raise the voting age to 30.
Yeah, I get that, and I agree, but they're being used. They're being used. They're showing up.
They're being used. They're actually, I think Kamala Harris came out once and said, let's face it, college students are pretty dumb, right? They're pretty stupid. And everybody like laughed. And I'm like, yeah, those are the people you want to lower the voting age to like 16. Like the Democrats, they always want to lower the voting age because they know they can trick stupid people into voting for them, or like dumb, gullible people, like uneducated, gullible, ignorant people. They can get to vote for them. They can't get. The more you learn about stuff, the more you realize that the Democrats are con artists. The more you like wise up, and so they need to lower the voting. We're trying to raise the voting age because why? Because we don't want dumb, gullible people voting. Like you remember, they used to have this thing on MTV called like "Vote or Die." Do you remember that?
I do
remember this vote or die thing? Yeah. And I always thought like, and then South Park did this thing like, as if it was a threat, like vote or die, your choice, pal. Like you vote or we kill you. I always thought that was quite funny. Like they were threatening people. But then I always thought like, why are you saying vote or die? Like we've all got to vote. Like it's your responsibility. Everybody should vote. Well, no, I don't want dumb people voting. And actually, in Australia, voting is actually mandatory. You have to vote by law in Australia.
Crazy.
And it's like, why would you legally require people to do something that they are not qualified to do? If you don't know anything about politics, why are you voting? This is the most leftist, idiotic idea I've ever heard. Everybody has to vote. And I think honestly, I think leftists would go for that here too, because they know the more dumb people, the more gullible people, the poor educated the people are that are voting, the better they're going to do. And this girl is just proof of that. And like, no offense to her, like she's young, she's very young. I mean, she looks like she's 18, right? So you cannot expect most 18-year-olds to know a lot about politics. So I actually feel bad. I don't really want to feature her.
What's funny is her friend, like she's wearing a mask. She's kind of looks like she's kind of embarrassed about being there. She's just, like you said, I'm just here just to be here,
Her friend, like, why is she wearing a COVID mask? Oh, you think she's trying to hide her identity?
Yeah, I think she's like, I don't really want to be here, but she dragged me here.
Well, okay, it's one of two things. It's either she doesn't want to be identified, or she's so crazy left that she still thinks the masks work.
I don't think so. I think she's just hiding her identity because she says like, I really don't know. I'm not educated, right, about it.
Anyway, people are commenting on this like, oh, this is the state of the world and blah blah blah. I mean, the comment on here is pretty funny. Colin Rugg, he writes, pro-Palestinian protesters no clue why she's protesting and asks a friend why they're protesting, who also has no clue. But I wrote, my comment was civil rights cosplay. And the reason I posted it like that is because I have this theory, I've had this for a while now, that everybody wants to march with Martin Luther King Jr. Everybody wants to walk, across the bridge at Selma or whatever it was.
Like Biden. Biden did that, didn't he?
Biden used to lie. He's done this several times. He's lied about, he goes, when I used to march in the civil rights movement. And then like his like administration has to say like, he meant that in spirit, he was marching with the civil rights movement. It's ridiculous. But everybody, like every protester today, they always want to be with Martin Luther King, right? I think they all think that the ghost of Martin Luther King is there with them. And they're all like, oh, we're these great protesters. We're helping out Black people. We're helping out the, women. We're helping out gays, whatever it might be.
I think they truly believe that they're like, I think they truly believe that they're like back 60 years ago. And I think they believe they're same as those people that actually were really fighting for something. That's what I think what's going on in their mind. You know what the problem is like, this is a video that I'm coming out with in a couple of days here, maybe on Monday, Tuesday next week, something like that. It's called Democrats Live in a Fairy Tale. And the concept is basically like, I mentioned this last Monday, I think. Like, Democrats believe that, like, especially feminists think they're the great hero of the world. Straight white men are the bad guys. Black people are the victims. Maybe like Asians or Muslims are the sort of magical wizards. The straight white men that vote Democrat, they're like their trusty sidekick. They got this whole fairy tale world going on, and anything that fits into that fairy tale, they're happy with. Like when you go and you support Palestine in these protests, they really feel like they're fighting the dragon. This is the fairy tale come true. They're doing it. That's some cool lighting you got in the background. You do that on purpose with the 3 streaks there? Oh yeah, that's my college learning stuff. I'm finally getting to use it.
You should come over here and do that over here. It's great. It's good stuff.
Thanks. Thank you.
Anyway, they're ridiculous. These leftist women. Anyway, that's our final story, I think. What do you got to say about this?
Yeah, that's our final one. Right. I agree with all that. Like, it's just they want to be a part of something. They feel like they're living back in the days, for me, it's just useful idiots. Like they're being used. They don't realize it. When they get older, they're going to look back and they're going to be like, what did we do? We like destroyed this great country. How stupid were we? That's, it's sad. It's sad.
Well, I think that they don't really care what happens to the country as long as they have power. That's what they want. They want power more than anything else.
Well, I'm talking about like these girls. I'm talking about these girls. They're in the future. They're just gonna be like, "What did we do?" Especially when they have kids. Right. When they have a family, they're gonna be like, "Huh, wow."
Yeah, that is a sad thing to think about, right? It's sort of like the person who gets the sex change operation, and then 10 years later, they're like, "What was I thinking?" Yep. It's exactly the same. That's an interesting analogy. The sex change operation, the irreversible sex change operation, is the same as just voting Democrat, because you could irreparably change the country. Yep. Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company comes back with $2, says, well, hello, motherfuckers. I made it. We love you, man. We love you, man. We're just talking about how the irreparable damage done with the sex change operation is very similar to the irreparable damage done by voting Democrat. Every Democrat in spirit is transgender. Really. Must be why they love them. We all want to do irreparable damage. Maybe not to ourselves, maybe to our country.
Well, when Kurt gets back, we can ask him because what he thinks about that.
You're fixated on this idea. Kurt just had a sex change. That's why he missed the show. It's hilarious. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for the super chats. We didn't make a lot of money today, but we did enjoy the conversation. Remember, if you do send a super chat, you will be part of this. You will be the fourth friend of our little 3-friend group, or in this case, the third friend, because we've lost one of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're just gonna mercilessly ridicule him. Maybe he had a surgery to make himself look more white. You know, the Asians, they have those like his eyes are pretty white actually already because he's half white. But you know how Asians, they'll have like surgery to make themselves look white. Isn't that weird?
It is, yeah.
And that's such a weird. You know, that's the #1 operation in Asia is to get the eyes to look like our eyes.
It's funny. I don't know if you remember the article where a guy sued the wife because when they had the kid came out completely like ugly as.
Oh,
ugly,
that was I think that was an ad. That was actually an ad for a product. That wasn't ever a real actual story.
Oh, but I mean, it's true.
But I love the
transformations.
that was a hilarious thing. Oh,
Yeah,
it's genius.
I've seen the transformations. Like you have these really ugly girls and they go through all this plastic surgery and then they're these beautiful, amazing. And I think only Asians are capable of that because it's weird. Like plastic surgery works on Asians. I don't know why, but yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Well, Asians all kind of look a little bit more feminine than any other race. Like even the guys. Like I get like on my dating apps, I will get liked. Like you can see the likes, like who's liked you, and I'll get likes from ladyboys, and it's freaky because they look like women, man. Like it's. I mean, I know it's a photo, so they can Photoshop it a little bit. Like I think in real life, I'd be able to. Like I've met a ladyboy out here we were at a club, me and these guys, and like one of their friends was a ladyboy, and you could definitely tell it's a guy. You know, it's obviously a guy. Of course, it's a guy. But on the app, like for the photos, I'm like, there's no way this is a guy. How is this a guy? Like, it's crazy, man. Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company comes back with another $5. Says, sounds like the irreparable damage I did in my younger days, spending all my money on whiskey and women and wasting the rest. I love how he distinguishes spending his money on whiskey and women and wasting the rest. The whiskey and women, that was not a waste. Okay, let me be very clear about that. I wasted the rest. That's genius. I love that. Oh wait, hold on. What do we got here? Oh, my brother John Coles. Hold on. Oh no, it's a family chat. I thought he was writing me. Okay. Heck, we were saying some funny stuff. I don't remember what it was.
Asians, plastic surgery.
Asians and plastic surgery. Yeah, it does work. Plastic surgery does tend to work on the Asians, but only to look I don't know if they could do it to make themselves look more masculine. Maybe they could.
Yeah, I noticed it only works for like females.
No, it works for the males.
Making himself look feminine. Yeah, because you have all those K-pop bands. Like
I did once work with a guy who was like a Michael Jackson impersonator. He was an Asian guy, and he had a bunch of plastic surgery, and he did look like Michael Jackson, and it was weird. It was really weird. He looked exactly like him. It was a really weird thing. Anyway, do you have anything else? What's going on in your life, Jason? Your hair looks like it's going gray. Is that true, or is that just my imagination?
I think it's a lighting. No, it's going gray. Everything. Look at even the beard is like.
It looks distinguished. I like it. It looks good.
You know, ever since I had my child, I think I've aged like 20 years in just a matter of 2 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm seeing
all right. It wouldn't be a show
and
without me mentioning one of my exes. So I did have an ex once tell me that the reason that her hair started to go gray. Her hair is not gray, but it had like she got a few gray hairs. Is because she dated me. She always said, like, we kept in touch after, and she'd go, the reason I have gray hairs is because of you. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting like a Just for Men or something and
hold on. No, don't get you look great, man. Why would you do that? You look amazing.
I know. Maybe.
Hold on. We got a big super chat here from Legalized Adulthood. Look at this. I forgot I could click on him. Jeez, what you forget when you try another way of doing this. He says, go sing some karaoke and tip the bartender. WTF else do you do in Asia besides drink and sing badly? I'll be singing tonight, but not badly. I'm awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't sing. I can't sing, but I'm not in that part of Asia. I'm not in that part of Asia. Although I do have a friend on Twitter, Japanese girl who she's like a conservative. She comments on stuff. She's a little crazy, and she likes the karaoke scene. She actually says she lives in the karaoke capital of the world in Japan or something. But Japan's where they do karaoke. It's not where I'm in Indonesia. I don't think they do karaoke here so much. But what do? I do Muay Thai. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing Muay Thai. I do other kinds of like physical activities. Meeting Russian women. That's my primary pastime.
Oh, I noticed you cut the beard off.
Of course. I told you I'm not going to keep growing. It's horrible. I hate having a beard. It itches. I don't know how people do it.
Well, once it gets to a certain length, that itch stops.
Oh, is that right? I don't think I've ever got to that length before. I've just got like the week. Once I get to like a week and it starts itching, I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
I gotta get rid
No, yeah. Once it grows a certain length, the itch stops.
Okay. Well, it didn't look too bad last time. I remember seeing it, and I was, I don't think it looks great, but just not my thing. Bass Queen 71 says she's 54 years old and not one gray hair.
Wow,
that's incredible. Grandma died at 90. No color, no gray. No color, no gray. What does that mean? Oh, no, like artificial coloring. Half power concrete simplified crawfish company. Yeah, comes back. He says, Muay Thai. Now you are speaking my language. Yeah. Muay Thai is tough, man. Like, I don't know if I talked about this on the show before, but oh my gosh. Like, I have never had a conditioning workout like this in my life. Like, I feel like I'm going to die by the end of it. At least the first few times I went, I literally, I was hanging off the edge of this balcony thinking, if I fell off here and died, I would be okay now. Like, I'm happy. Like, I would be happy to die. Like, I feel like I'm dying. The guy makes my coach, he makes me do 3 minutes of jump rope, which already sucks because my cardio is terrible. Then I got to do 10 bodyweight squats, then 10 jump squats, then 10 bodyweight squats. Then we rest for 30 seconds. Then we do it all again. We do that 3 times. Then we do sit-ups. Then we do side crunches. Then we do another side crunches, which is literally impossible. Then we do the other side, of course. Then I do push-ups. Then we start the actual training, Muay Thai training. And I'm like, how the heck do you expect me to throw a punch after that? So then we start doing the training, right? And I'm punching, doing the punching. Like I usually say, look, you got to give me an extra minute break because I'm old, Punch. And then between the punching sessions, the striking stuff, he makes me do push-ups between the things. And then I can only last for a couple minutes, That's what she said. Boom. Anyway, I can only last for a couple minutes. And then he's like, why you have no stamina? I'm like, stop making me do push-ups in between the things. Maybe I'll have more stamina. It is so hard, man. It is hard. It is the hardest kind of conditioning I've ever done in my life.
But
the Scott program says I'll get used to the conditioning if I do it every day for 2 weeks. I'm not doing it every day. I'm doing it 3 days a week. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I love Muay Thai. That's a real like I'm not gonna say martial arts because it's more of a fighting art. It's a practical fighting art.
Scott Pilgrim says he did 7 days a week. I don't think I could do this 7 days a week.
Yeah,
no, I'm not gonna quit. I'm not doing it today. I'm supposed to go today, but my shoulder is just really messed up, so I'm gonna give it a break until Monday.
It's a very toxic masculine art.
That's
art.
Right.
You picked the right
that
one.
Bombshell. Yeah. That's a brilliant way to end the show. Okay, what is the most toxically masculine sport you could possibly do? It might be Muay Thai. All right. Well, Jason, thank you for being a professional and
You're
showing
welcome.
up to the show and doing it with me. despite the fact that we lost our third guy to his sex change operation, which I'm sure that's what he's doing. All right. You guys, we appreciate your chat, whether it's a super chat or not. Oh, hold on. Is there more super chats? I don't think so, but let me just make sure. Nope, I think we got them all. All right. Thank you guys so much, especially everybody threw in super chats, but even everybody just in the chat. We love you guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. And we will see you next Monday. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be awesome. Until then, remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.